Right, let's go for it.
Okay, Vik, could you please describe yourself and your role at Autodesk?
Yeah, so I've been with Autodesk for 8 years now. Been in the mechanical industry for 17 years, coming up on 18 years now. Specifically in the CAD, CAE, PLM sector, I've been in this for almost most of my professional career. So with Autodesk, I currently manage our industry and business strategy for all of the design and manufacturing offerings. So that includes Fusion, and it also includes all of our established brands like Inventor, what we call as product design and manufacturing collection, the manufacturing centric offerings like mold flow, feature cam, power mill, so all of the design and manufacturing portfolio. Yep.
Excellent. That gives me more options to talk about. But in the meantime, please give us a briefly general overview of Fusion. And this is going to be to our readers to understand better the concept.
Yeah, very good. So at a very high level, Sergio, the vision with Fusion is that, we have so far seen that in this industry for the past 30 years or so, there are vertical technologies that have been established that have matured very nicely. There are CAD solutions, there are manufacturing-centric solutions, there are simulation-centric solutions, and so forth. The challenge with these offerings is that they are so specialized at this point that, for a user to go through the product development process, they have to connect all these things and make everything work in unison. For us, Fusion actually brings an opportunity to completely converge all of these workflows, starting from the ideation all the way through finally production of a design, if you will. And we are able to do that with a single unified experience. And we are able to serve the data and the information to the various personas all the way across that product development process, right? So that's at a very high level, the vision. What we are also able to do simultaneously is deliver on automation workflows. We're able to superimpose intelligent automation and then also provide insights so that customers can very quickly make decisions as they are going through the stages of product development.
Excellent. And well, there are many products in the market. Finally, the final users can have the option on premise or cloud. And why should companies consider Fusion as a good option for their product development?
Yeah. So I'll give you a couple of reasons. So just to state your question back, you're asking, like, there are many solutions in the market. There are on-premise solutions, there are cloud solutions. Why Fusion? What difference does Fusion bring? So there are three things I would call out. One of them is Fusion is a completely cloud-based offering. And the reason we went down that path is we see cloud as an enabler for rapid collaboration and also for removing the burden away from the user for maintenance and updating and reaching out to a wide audience. It just becomes an enabler to communicate and collaborate very rapidly, number one. Number two, when you put the data on the cloud, data at that point becomes centralized, right? So anybody can tap into the data and get the necessary level of information versus locking the data in specific applications. And third, what it also allows us to do is take advantage of infinite compute capacity, because as we get into more and more powerful workflows, some of our specialized offerings, we are able to unleash the full power of the cloud to be able to rapidly solve and provide near real-time outcomes for the user to take advantage of, right? So because of all these mechanisms, Fusion is a cloud-based solution. And as we are providing all of this, what we can also do is connect the entire ecosystem, from a industrial designer all the way through mechanical engineers and design engineers, through simulation specialists, all the way to manufacturing folks and the shop floor, the machinist persona. So we're able to connect everybody together in a single unified experience. What makes Fusion different in the market is not just this end-to-end product development process, but it's also the flexibility of access. If you look at our business model for Fusion, even that is in a very differentiated fashion. Customer has a very, very affordable entry point that they can get in, and they can either enhance their existing workflows, or they can get in all in on the Fusion platform. And then as they need workflows, they're able to unlock greater capacity through the extensions framework, right? So we see the flexibility in business models as another huge differentiator for customers.
Okay, thank you, Vik. I understand this week in Autodesk University, you are announcing a new features, new functionality, especially some connection with ANSYS. Can you explain us about the news that you are giving to the audience?
Yes. So one of the areas where we are seeing an opportunity is that products are increasingly getting smarter, right? I mean, there's this beginning of convergence of mechanical with electrical that is happening in the industry, and the amount of network devices are doubling. Everybody expects smart products these days, products that they can touch and react to, and that can gather and give them data and feedback. And as a consequence, what we have been doing internally, if you look back at the past 2-3 years, is we've been actually bringing in ECAD workflows into the Fusion ecosystem. So now today you can actually go into Fusion and you can not only do a full-blown mechanical CAD design and model it and take it towards manufacturing, but you can actually build a PC board, you can do the electronics, you can take the electronics portion all the way through manufacturing as well. And the beauty is that now you have ECAD meeting MCAD in a single unified experience. Now, to continue to accelerate this, this path to be able to serve the smart products market, what we have realized is that customers need validation as part of it. They need to understand if they are designing a smart product. You can take any product in the consumer product space as an example. Most users have to go through a rigorous process of design and redesign between ECAD and MCAD. And they also have to test and certify in order to legally send products to the market. And today what they do is they would build a board, and then they would have to spend a lot of money either getting a third-party consultant to actually test and certify in order to get certification like FCC put in place. And so what we are doing is we are partnering with ANSYS to actually bring all of that testing and electronics, electromagnetic simulation, and signal integrity analysis right inside of Fusion, so that as a user is going through the design process, they're able to get that validation that the design can pass the legal certification requirements, right? So that's the partnership that you heard about at Autodesk University. This is an extremely exciting venture for us. ANSYS is a big player in the space. They bring a very reputed brand of electromagnetic simulation and signal integrity testing, and we're thrilled to actually partner and deliver this to our customers.
Excellent. And talking about the manufacturing side, now that you mentioned all the ecosystems, it reminds me about Power Mill. What happened with Power Mill is integrated in Fusion. It have a new name. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Totally, right? So Power Mill is it's a really good brand within the manufacturing space. It brings really complex machining strategies, multi-axis machining toolpath strategies, and so on and so forth. And it's really established itself in the market. when we started this journey with Fusion, our belief has been that we need to centralize all of these workflows into a single experience. And so what we've been working on is taking advantage of these high-powered technologies like a power mill, for example, and we are looking for ways to bring the engine that's powering all of those right into the Fusion ecosystem, right? So what you will see already today is that we have started taking some of those toolpath strategies and we have started bringing it into the Fusion ecosystem. We often talk about like steep and shallow as a strategy, and that's a power mill strategy that we have now brought into the Fusion ecosystem. What you will see is we will bring more and more of such functionalities into the Fusion ecosystem so that you can go literally end to end as you're working with the design. You can do the manufacturing workflows also within Fusion. How we deliver this to the market, you see the concept of extensions. So we have an extension called the machining extension. And so that's where you're seeing a lot of these features start to surface, if you will.
Okay. Now it takes me to the license models. Can you talk a little bit the license? And I'm thinking about, I don't know if today or maybe in the future, people are going to be demanding as per use the modules. I mean, if I need mold flow, I will need to pay for the moment that I use mold flow. I mean, pay per use or something like
Yeah,
that. Can you describe me a little bit about your license model and what's going to
yeah,
be in the future?
yeah, totally. So if you go back to the days of perpetual licenses, most customers had a extremely heavy initial spend on getting access to the technology. And then there was the notion of an annual, maintenance, if you will, to keep the product up to date. We have, over the past 4 years, moved towards a subscription model. So we have completely moved into the world of subscription. And specifically, we are locked in on what we call as a named user subscription. So, each user gets a subscription to the offering. That's where Autodesk's philosophy sits. Every user gets a subscription for any offering that they want. And that's our current business model. What we have also been figuring out is based on the level of usage and the frequency of usage, customers may prefer to get access to a particular workflow all the time, or they may need it for a project, or maybe they just need it for a single day where they're doing something. And so this is often called in the industry as consumption economics, right? And so we have been experimenting with consumption economics for a long time. We actually had it working for our largest customers, our enterprise customers, for a while. But we are at a point where we are able to bring that level of flexibility to the mass market from a licensing perspective. And Fusion is one area where you're actually witnessing it happen real time. Today, you can go and subscribe to Fusion. If you want for a month, for a year, and so on and so forth. You can do the same thing with an extension. You can pick it up for a month. You can pick it up for a year. There are some places inside of the extensions framework where we even give you access for a day or even for a task, right? So we are very quickly embracing the concept of right sizing for whatever the user's need is. Let the user decide how long they want to access technology rather than us putting a rigid bounding box saying you have to spend this much to be able to even touch a piece of technology. And that's why I called out earlier that the flexibility in the business models on its own is a strong differentiator that we see for Fusion. So where I see this going is what I called out, which is continued flexibility for customers to decide how long they want to engage with a piece of technology and which technologies that they want to use. And that's why you might have also read about our launch of what we call as flex access as a business model as well. So customers can pick whatever parts of the products that they want in our portfolio, and they have the flexibility to determine how long they want to engage with it. And Fusion and the extensions follows that same logic.
Good, thank you. And the next question is about who is using Fusion. I mean, SMBs or big corporates? Because I'm thinking in worldwide, probably some SMBs, some specific regions have limitations in the data centers or things because it's on the cloud and you are managing 3D modeling. Can you expand about that?
Yes. So I think your question is who is using Fusion today from a commercial basis? What types of companies? What sizes of corporations? So what we find for Fusion today, and of course, I mean, if you look back at the history of Fusion, we started with very humble beginnings, like any other business. Today, we have grown to a point where Fusion is resonating extremely well in manufacturing, in machine shops, in manufacturing departments. We see a lot of pickup because of the maturity of manufacturing within Fusion. We've also seen a lot of companies that are in the design space starting to embrace for select workflows. These are the small businesses, the VSBs, the SMB type of organizations that have started picking it up. And we're also noticing this happen across all three regions that we serve. You know, Americas, we're seeing a dramatic expansion in EMEA, Europe, and Middle East. And we're also seeing pickup in select portions in APAC as well. So what started off as, you know, a small portion of the Autodesk ecosystem is now rapidly growing. I think at the last Investor Day reports and the quarterly earnings call, Andrew speaks about the pace at which Fusion has expanded in the market. I recall even late last year, we were talking about crossing the 100,000 commercial subscriber base, and we are now past the 165,000 commercial subscriber base. And that's been broadcast in the quarterly earnings report.
Those are very good numbers. And for my last question, is about the training and certification. I guess you just announced something about manufacturing roles and stuff. And the question is it difficult for a new user to know Fusion? And if he needs to certificate, can you talk a little bit about it?
Yes. So about 5 years ago, when we started accelerating on Fusion, we quickly came to the conclusion that there is so much richness in the technology that we need to provide a strong learning medium for customers. And so quite a while ago, we started a whole adoption and learning community. Even via our product center, we started talking about learning and adoption quite extensively. What we also found is customers and our various users in the education space, in the startup community, as well as in the personal communities, had also started interfacing with each other through social media in order to create various learning platforms. Now, in the most recent couple of years, we have come to believe that Fusion has got such a strong backbone that it can act as a mechanism for future employers to start understanding whether a user has sufficient skill levels. And this is happening specifically as we interface with our education community, right? And we see that there are fresh graduates, students, whether they are in vocational training or four-year graduate programs, as well as lifelong learners and people that are looking to upskill their levels, that they are coming back and they are looking for a formal way to get certified, to show the manufacturing community that they have secured sufficient knowledge to be able to use the workflows. And as a consequence, we have invested extensively in developing a certification program. So what we are working on right now for Fusion are various levels of certification on various areas within Fusion. So if you go to our certification page, you will see if you are a machinist, you have the ability to start, developing your skills on 2.5 axis or 3 axis or, more complex 5 axis milling strategies. And so we have 3 levels: associates, professional, and then the expert level certification. You can go through any of those tracks. And by earning those certifications, you're able to then put it on your LinkedIn page or your professional communities and show to the world that you have the necessary skill sets that you've gained through those certification programs. Our intent is that we continue to build on these certifications for various user types or personas, right? If you are a mechanical engineer or a design engineer, you are probably needing a certain type of skill set. If you're a machinist, you need a different kind of skill set. If you're an industrial designer, you're going to need a different kind of skill set. So we're curating these tracks of certifications, and the user can go and get as many of these certifications as they want in order to put themselves out as a trained professional in Fusion.
Thank you, Vic. Something you wanted to add that probably I forgot that you wanted to share?
I would say, yeah, I mean, hopefully, I'm assuming, Sergio, you have watched all of the AU keynotes and all the information that we are sharing out. No doubt you've heard a lot about Fusion and the direction that we are going with Fusion. The one additional piece I want to emphasize is you've also heard about our platform direction. Forge is our platform. That's where we are establishing all of the workflows. And what you're noticing is that we're building Fusion on Forge for that reason, so that we can start putting all the data and centralize the data on Forge. And you are also seeing the same kind of notion from all of the other industries that we serve. So when you think about Inventor data, Revit data, AutoCAD data, Fusion data, all of that gets centralized on Forge. I just want to reiterate that that's really a critical part of our strategy for a number of reasons. One, it centralizes all of the data. Second, it gives us the ammunition to break down that data into its constituents. You will hear words like metadata or going from file to objects, for example. And the reason that becomes important for the customer is because we can then correctly serve what is exactly needed for them, rather than the proprietary data getting locked up within a file, for example, right? And so the Forge platform becomes a very critical backbone for everything that we're doing in the cloud. And the other axis is when you think about connecting to third-party ecosystems like an Ansys or what we've done with a priori and so forth. We are able to then bring their capabilities and enrich that data so that when the customer is asking for information, all of that is handled behind the scenes for them. Their experience becomes much better. They get more insights, and it's powered by not just Autodesk technology, but also the massive ecosystem that we're building around it, right? So that's the only other piece that I think I would call out. I'm happy to answer any other question you may have, but the simplicity of Forge as a platform to where we are headed in the design and manufacturing industry cannot be understated. It's a very important part of this journey for us.
Yeah, that will be the new way to provide APIs to the application.
So it's APIs, absolutely. The APIs enable developers, system integrators, people that have the resources to be able to do things. But it also puts us in a position to automate those things so we can serve information via Fusion to customers as well. So there's going to be a lot of benefits of going down this journey for the customer.
Okay, thank you, Vic. That's all that I have for today. I'd like to thank you for your time, and for everybody else, Priscilla, Jason, Eduardo, and Rodrigo. Thank you for your time. I'm going to tape this one, and I'm going to write the article. Probably will be online next week.
Okay, thank you, Sergio. And in case you need anything from us, just let us know, okay? And thank you, Vic, for your time and all the information.
All right.
Thank you
Wonderful.
all.
Thank you all.
Thanks all.
Thank you, Sergio.
Gracias,
Thank you.
Sergio.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Adiós.
Bye.